Welcome to Life Workshop, where we discuss the forgotten basics. As usual, we have Bo with me, the most favorite co-host, and of course, I am the most favorite host. So, Mo. And then the topic of this episode is value system, but the part one we are going to be talking about this on over a few episodes. So, Bo, I'm going to start with a question from you. In general, is Canada a good country or a bad country?
It's a good country because I live here.
Okay, because of you.
Yep, all just because of me.
Okay.
Well, I think so. I don't really have anything to compare it to.
Okay. So is it a good country because of the people or because of the government of Canada? Generally.
I would say it's a good place because of the people.
Okay.
And I think maybe it was a good place of the government maybe 50 years ago.
So the government is not that good.
Not particularly.
Okay.
At the moment, not particularly, no.
Yeah, fair enough. And now, the audience, you guys, I would like you to answer to this question. If you're only are from the country that you are and you haven't immigrated, tell me if your country is a good country or a bad country, and have that answer. And then if the country that you came from, the second country, whatever it is, or third country, any country that you know, if they are good or bad. And then when you have answered that, then why is the country good or why is it bad? Because of the people or because of the government of the people of that country? So, and if I predict your answer correctly, you owe me this, that you're going to like my video, the podcast. You're going to subscribe and you're going to share it, hopefully. So, as a general rule, I have asked this from quite a few people, and often.
Before you go any farther, I just have a question.
Mm-hmm.
When you said about the people, because we usually look at like individual people, right? So you're looking at your friends and things like that. When you say the people, are you talking about the
people of the country?
The overwhelming culture?
Correct.
There's a word for it.
The mass.
Preeminent culture of the country. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Just the general mass of the country. Are the people of the country good, or is it the government is good? And why the country becomes good or becomes bad?
Okay.
And as a general...
I stay with my answer then.
Okay, good. So as a general rule, this is the thing. Often, very frequently, when you say your country is bad, you blame it on the government. You say government is bad. But if your country is good, you say that people are good. Because of the people, the country is good, not because of the government. So if it is a bad country, you consider it doesn't matter what it is. If you're considering your country a bad country, then you blame it on the government. But if you consider your country as a good country, then you consider it, you give the credit to the people, that people are good. This is a general rule. But the answer is just one thing. A country is good or bad because of the value system of the people. Because this is the people who have elected the government. Mm-hmm. So before I get to further...
Well, not exactly. Because...
Like North Korea? Let me help you with that.
Well, North Korea, sure. But I mean, even here, only half of the people voted
actually
somewhere, or half of the people.
I'm going to get there.
And,
I would say that is not.
And the Nazi Party in Germany got voted in with 30% of the vote.
Actually, I'm going to get back to that too.
Okay.
So
you get back to it then.
Yeah, for sure. No, every time the answer is this. It's because of the people. Mm-hmm. Even if the government is a dictator, even if the government is elected because of the 10% or whatever that you want to say, it doesn't matter what the percentage is every time because of the people, and I'll get there. But before I get there, I'm going to just mention this. Years ago, I was just thinking how you can become famous. And I really went and Googled this. Yeah, seriously. Not that I wanted to be famous, although I don't mind it, but... But anyway, and I asked this from a lot of people as well as I researched it, till a friend of mine put it in a very simplistic way, and which was, I believe that is the answer. He said, you become famous if people like you. Not because you're right, not because you're smart, not because you're doing good, not because of anything else. Simply if people like you. So, based on the value system that we have, we like something or don't. So because of that, that person becomes famous. For example, Kim Kardashians, they have become famous. Mm-hmm. Not because they are doing anything positive. Actually, as far as I'm concerned, to the best of my knowledge, I really don't know much about them, just briefly, but the way I know of them is more of a negative than positive. But yet they have become famous. Why? Because of the poor value system that we have. Now, I'm going to go back to this. Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
You just snuck that in there.
This was very smooth, huh?
that was good. Yep. Reiterate that again. We have a poor value system.
Absolutely, absolutely, okay. Absolutely.
Okay,
absolutely. And we can get better. I'm not saying when I say poor, I don't mean just terrible and blah blah blah. But it is a bad system. We have room for improvement. A lot of it. Now I'm going to go back because I have brought this up before, and then a friend said that no, in North Korea, that's not true. For example, do you think that government? I said absolutely. It was created by the people. And this is the thing. When the value, I don't know much about North Korea, but I'm ready to bet money on this because this is the same behavior across the board. It doesn't change. It's the same principle. I guarantee you, in the North Korean culture, or whatever that it was, they were okay with a bit of a dictatorship. They were just fine with that. And because of that, a dictator came to power. And then he became more of a dictator. So then the people, they were kind of gave in. And then he became more, and that's it. It went on. As simple as that.
Right, and then it got too far to stop.
Yeah. And even too far to stop, again, depends on how much people they believe in or understand of democracy. Then, because at one point, I mean, let's picture this. If they say, and sometimes this has happened, that sometimes people, they get worried that in Canada, that we have democracy, if we are going to go backwards and we are going to have a dictator government, and of course I believe some people, they say we do and blah, 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 blah. No, but forget it. Have you been elsewhere? Let's just be real. So if somebody thinks that we are going to go back, just think about it for just picture it. Even if the government wants to become a dictator, who is going to apply it? Because the government, who is government? The Justin Trudeau, for example, for us, he wants to come and tell this. The member of the parliaments, the other people that are below him too, that it trickles down. Yeah. Who is going to enforce that?
Enforce what?
Dictatorship.
Well, ultimately,
it won't happen. That is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
It will never, ever happen because our police department, our army, our parliament, everybody has grown up in democracy. We are not going to go backwards. It won't happen. We might have hiccups. It will never, ever go backwards. So nothing to worry. That's what I'm saying. Because we have grown with that. Who is going to do it? Because somebody, when we say that North Korea is not the Kim Jong-un, I don't know what his name exactly is, but he himself is not there with the gun enforcing. It is his army and the people, the ranks underneath him and then underneath him. They are the one.
Except he murdered his brother.
That is correct. That is correct. But did he murder?
I don't think,
my question is that.
I have no doubt that he would shoot either of us without a hesitation.
For sure. No, that is true. That is very true. My question that, do you think he went himself and just
I shouldn't even say that. I don't even know him.
Okay. Well, I don't know him personally too. But what I'm trying to say that he could not do, it's just impossible. The way he has done it, it has been because the people have been okay with it. That's all I'm trying to say. And the people underneath him, they have been okay with it. I'm going to get there. It will make more sense. In Iran, for example, we had, we had a very good country before the revolution, but then it got worse.
Didn't things go backwards in Iran?
Yes, we did. But listen to this, just a second.
Okay.
And that was actually another thing. I'm going to bring it up in the next podcast.
Okay.
Okay. So in Iran, for example, it was relatively democracy. But when I say democracy, the Shah's time, the Shah's way, the kingdom that we had before. But again, you could not talk against the government at that time. Again, that was the same principle. They could not talk. In here, you can go talk about Justin Trudeau and nothing happens. Even during Shah's time, if you would say something about the Shah, somebody would come and arrest you. You could not talk about that. So it was not as democracy as we talk. But there was democracy in the way that people could dress or, cover up or not cover up, go to parties, have a bar or something. That was freedom. But you could not do against the government even at that time.
Do you think, though, let's talk about this thing with the government of Canada with the Emergencies Act that they did, because truckers were parked in like Ottawa making a nuisance. They're blowing their horns and stuff. That's annoying, but they just protested, and instead of going out and talking to them, he said they're all crazy, which isn't true. And maybe some, but it's not overall, right? And these people had a legitimate concern, and and he should have came out and spoke to them, or had a representative, or someone should have come and spoke to them. But instead, they froze their bank accounts, and everyone who supported this bank account, anyone who gave money to them to raise their donation, and enforced this War Measures Act.
Okay,
like
sometimes
I'm not done yet. So and I get it. It's not that someone didn't come out and like arrest anyone for talking against Justin Trudeau himself or anything, but shouldn't we be watching out, because that's a slippery slope, especially when they declare something like a War Measures Act for a bunch of people like truck drivers who are protesting something. Like, there's way worse stuff going on.
I'm going to just very briefly say this though. First of all, this is yet democracy, but democracy does not mean that you can do anything and everything.
But it means have a right to protest.
as long as it does not invade somebody else's democracy. So sometimes people, they get confused. They think that with democracy you can do anything and everything. No. Your freedom, as long as doesn't invade somebody else's freedom. And then, yes, there might be a little bit of a push back and forth, but I don't want to get into that detailed part of it, because if you talk to a lot of other, let's say, pro-vax and these things, I think a majority were in favor of the government taking action, and they thought that it didn't take as much action against the truckers. So it can go both ways. It
wasn't a government issue; it was a bad policing issue.
But
they should never have let those trucks roll up into that place. Said, they should have stopped that before it even happened. And they said, you can walk onto the grounds and protest all you want, but you can't bring your trucks in and blockade part of Ottawa.
I think we are veering off from the main subject of the value system.
True, but I'm just saying though that when they it felt to me like that was an extreme response from a government, but it sets a template, you know what I mean, of that in the future, and I think we should be vigilant.
I wouldn't worry too much about that.
Because though, and it's about us, you just said it's about people and their value systems, right? If we slowly let everything degrade, and if we're not vigilant, then our value systems change.
I think we have bigger fish to fry.
I don't.
And that's okay. Then we can do it in both podcasts.
Okay.
Bo is the host and Mo is the co-host.
Sorry, I just wanted to bring it up, right?
No.
It just seemed to me that I would hate to see things go backwards. So, and you said it goes like little things.
No, actually, I appreciate that you bring this up, because again, as we had discussed it, I want you to take the position of the audience, and I'm sure a lot of audience would have the same concern. But I would not worry too much about it at all. No, it will never. Yes, if we just let things slip gradually, yes, it can go the wrong way. But I don't think so. Because we have grown up in democracy in a way, it's just impossible. That's all I can tell you. It might have some hiccups. We have hiccups for sure. But to go backwards altogether, it will never ever happen. This is the nature of the things. And as you look at the whole world in general, the whole world is just, I think it's just a fact of life. Is getting freer, is becoming better in general. I know we have hiccups. Yeah. I know we have hiccups. For example, like right now, Putin, this dude, he thinks that he can go and invade another country and kill people, which that actually shocked me, to be honest. But
Yeah.
again, these hiccups can happen. They are not going to last. They are going to go back, and hopefully things will turn towards better. But again, they are just hiccups. But I want to go back, if you don't mind, to the main subject. For example, when you say about North Korea, how it became, it was several years ago. I had this, again, as you may know, I'm originally from Iran. There was this Iranian lady who had left Iran a year prior. And then when we were talking, she hated the government of Iran. She started, ranting away, that how they do it, and if she was in power, she would do this. If she was in power, she would do that. She kept going.
When I'm king of Canada.
Oh, that would be interesting to see. But so I'm not sure. I'm trying to picture that. Bo is the prime minister.
Everyone's house runs on boiler heat, and I come and install it.
Okay.
Vote for me.
But so this Iranian lady, she started ranting away about what she would do. Then I told her, I said, hey, do you know what's the difference between you and the Hezbollah, the current government of Iran? She said, what? I said, nothing. You're just a different dictator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is what I'm trying to say. She did not know that what is freedom and what's democracy. And let us be honest, even myself, at the beginning when I left Iran, I didn't know. I did not know exactly what democracy is. And what I'm saying that, for example, I had this client of mine that he's from one of this Islamic country, more restricted. And then once, he was talking that, we were talking about this, that, for example, if you're married and your wife doesn't want to have sex with you, you cannot force her. Then he was just shocked. But she's my wife. I said, hey, slow down. It's not your possession. But he has not seen differently. I don't blame the guy, but I'm hoping, that became an education. He says, then what shall I do in case? I said, you can divorce her. You can go cheat on her. You can do all of that. But you cannot force her. Period. I said, democracy is this, that you can cheat, you can divorce, but you cannot force her. So because we had not learned, and myself, I hadn't learned, democracy, that how it is. The same way this Iranian lady. So it would change from one dictator to another dictator. So during Shah's time, it was a dictatorship too. But in a different way. As I said, you could not talk against the Shah. But after the revolution, it became worse. And as I said, in the next podcast, I will talk about that, why the revolution happened to begin with. I should tell you this again. So when I talk about the value system of society, the value system decide that who goes on top. I was watching, I'm not going to say which country, but there was one of these backwards countries. And when I say backwards, it's not an insult, it's a fact. Because some people, they say that, oh, you cannot say that. Oh, yes, I can. And this is true. Then one of these backwards countries that, there is this guy, this clergyman, let's say he's sitting on the floor and then his assistant next to him. And then there are two lined up, it's an Islamic country. Two lined up, one for the guys and the other one for women. And then, of course, there is a curtain in between that they never ever see each other because that bad, haram, you go to hell and all of that. And then they get close to the clergyman and then without even saying a word, nothing. They have something in their mind that they want to see that if they can, what they should do. They want to make a decision. So the clergyman has a book in his hand, opens it and tells them yes, no, maybe, and maybe a sentence. Do it, don't do it, or think about it, or just come up with something. It's like a fortune teller. And then those people, of course the guys, not the girls.
Hey, you can't say that.
They would, which part?
Those people.
Oh, those... There's some of us.
See, I've been paying attention.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome, actually. So the man would sometimes kiss the guy's hand and would give money to the assistant of the guy, the clergyman. And women, they would just give the money to the assistant. So basically, what I'm saying, the moral of the story is this: this clergyman had tons of respect, obviously, among the society. But really, was he a respectful man or useful man? I don't think so. He doesn't know even what goes in your head. He's not providing anything. Just they come with their idea, something in your head, and then he will says yes, no, maybe. So the moral of the story again is this. The value system of society decides who goes on top. So the person who is on top is not necessarily the smartest, is not necessarily the best. So if you see a dumbass goes on top, it's because we elected the dumbass. We had the bad idea, bad value system. Very, very simple.
I didn't.
Okay, you didn't vote for this one. But,
Okay.
Actually, for example, I'm going to go back now to the other one.
I have a question before, or a statement, I guess, before you continue.
Mm-hmm.
When you say something like your story about the clergyman and that, right? It almost seems to me that there's something more going on there. That it's almost like these people going to him, right? Because they don't want to make a decision.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And it's just easier for them just to, well, I'm just going to go to him and I'll do whatever he says, and then all the responsibility is
It's
off
gone.
of me. I don't have any so I don't actually have to make the hard decision. It's he did it.
Correct.
I don't have to apologize for whatever because the clergyman said it's fine. Or I don't have to do this because the clergyman says fine. Or
all of this thing that
did
you're
this
saying,
because this guy says fine, and it's a way of avoiding responsibility.
again, all of those things that you said are the value system.
Right.
The value system, do I want to take responsibility for my actions, or I don't want to take responsibility? And if I don't want to take responsibility, I'm not going to talk to somebody who is an expert and can give me a proper advice. I'm going to just have it in my mind, and somebody's sitting there telling me yes, no, maybe, without hearing anything. The whole thing that you're saying is value system. Simple. I said, I keep going back. Life is simple. We make it complicated. We are going into details of it, why they do what they do, which is cool. But that's all the value system. Now I'm going to go back. I'm going to bring it back home, because when we talk about others, those people.
Hey, we people. Us.
Yeah, some of us.
Yeah.
When we talk about some other people, but it's easier to see the flaw in them. But now let's bring it back home. We had Donald Trump becoming president of the United States. While he had lied about the fact that he said he has a 16-story building while it was 15.
That's funny.
So, and he just wanted to have one extra level to it.
Maybe he was including the basement.
Actually, he did, but nobody would. That was the rule. Yeah, you cannot just count that. But he did. And then they asked him why. He said, who's going to count it? Something in that line. So why do you think when somebody lies to somebody else, is not going to lie to you?
Right.
What makes you think that it's going to become honest to you? So this is going back to that concept of friends that I said. If you see somebody that wants the bad for others, why do you think it's not going to have a bad for you at another time? Your just turn hasn't come up well. This is all I'm trying to say. That it's a behavior. Or for example, when he, I'm trying to remember the thing. When Trump again, he brought up the fact he didn't rent any of the units to the black people. So why do you think now he's not racist anymore? Or he didn't do that in the past?
No.
Of course, people can change. But let us bring it back home.
Well,
he, in one of
I
his
don't think
speeches,
it was that easy.
you're trying to make it complicated,
No,
and I'm
I'm
trying
not.
to simplify it.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
There was a whole court case about that, and he was innocent. So
Okay, fair enough.
let's
I'm not going to get into those details,
Okay.
but let's get back to this other two. For example, he mentioned that if he shoots somebody on 9th Avenue, it's not going to affect his, rating or something, which unfortunately, to some extent, it was true. But he said that. Did you hear that one? No, he said that. It was a very popular one.
That's awful.
So it is awful. And this is the thing. This is the value system of our American, some obviously, that they didn't care. They simply didn't care. If somebody says that, and I'm listening, that person is written off completely.
Right.
Completely. I don't need more. Because some of the things are so important. Another one, for example, when he mocked a disabled man and was not apologetic about it too.
Yeah. Didn't he not know they were disabled or something at first?
I don't know.
And anyway, irregardless, I
Again,
don't know why we're talking
remember,
about
we are
this
talking
clown,
somebody
but-
wants to become a president of a country.
Yeah. Yeah.
So again,
But,
it is the
okay.
value system. I brought up the things from North Korea, from Iran, where I'm from, because some people, they may think that, I become prejudiced or something to do that.
Okay,
I want to
well-
make sure that, I do all of that. No, we have bad value system that we allow bad people to go on top.
Right. And that whole thing in the United States when Donald Trump was elected, right? You have to understand too, who was he running against? He was running against who they put up against him was Hillary Clinton, who's an awful person by all accounts. They started a war in Libya. What's going on in Libya?
Fair enough that unfortunately, I agree.
And the Clinton found
I'm not sure which one is
Foundation,
worse though.
Bad. They're both bad. They were awful. The poor American people had no choice. They like what is this? And then that goes into your value system though.
Actually,
because
at the end
that's the poor value system gave them those two poor choices.
Exactly. Actually, now I'm going to get back to that one. If you had two bad candidates to choose from, I'm not sure which one is worse. I'm not sure which one is worse. But anyway, that's another thing. Now I'm going to come back to this question. When we talk about politicians, because they are the politicians that they have gone to that level that they become the candidates, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I say somebody's a politician, do you feel that they are more honest or dishonest? What do you think?
Right away, dishonest. They all suck.
That exactly.
They're all wrong.
Actually, this is exactly what I'm saying.
That's why I have to be king.
Yeah, the first thing that comes to my mind, if somebody says that he's a politician, the first thing is you're a dishonest person. That is the impression that I get.
And that's not fair.
Actually, there is some generalization about it that is true. And the reason why we don't have honest politicians.
Because the value system of the people.
Because we don't vote for them.
Yeah.
Because we don't vote for them. Because we want a politician who lies to us. So if I say I want it black, he says yes. If you say I want it white, he would say yes to both of us. And he's lying to both of us.
Well, now I just said that they all suck, but now you're trying about so actually we all suck.
Exactly.
Now I feel bad about myself.
It's a good start. That becomes where you can start to improve. You can change on. This is exactly where I'm going with this. Because myself, a few years ago, it was just something that I was thinking if run for politics. And then some friends, they said, you have no chance in hell. And the reason is because I'm very straightforward and honest. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, and some others, they thought that probably I will because I'm very, again, outspoken and just say it as is. But in general rule, this is what I'm trying to say. And this will be a question, by the way, for the audience at the end. And you can check to see which one are you. You really value honesty, or you value somebody who approves of what you're doing. And that's the question. And you can just check to see who are your friends. The friends that you have, are they the one that every time, yes, you're right, yeah, I'm supporting you, you're doing this, yeah, it's good. Or the one that they're challenging, and if you're making a mistake, they tell you. So if you're the first one that you want approval, you're the one who is voting for the politician who is a liar. And you're the one who does not allow an honest person to become a politician. And that is why we make politics equal to be dishonest. That is the generalization that we do. I'm not saying in every single case, don't take me wrong, but it's not as bad. And in countries that are more screwed up than Canada, actually Canada is a great country, by the way.
Yep.
Except in winter. It's a cold, great country.
Yeah.
With the cold at the beginning. But even in Canada, for example, the government is not as bad of a liar as is in some other countries that they are more screwed up. This that I can say for a fact, I'm coming from one. Because the more liars, the more dishonesty, the more screwed up. it gets.
Right.
But again,
But
because
we as a people though shouldn't tolerate any of these things.
actually we are doing it. We are picking them up ourselves. We are voting for them. That is exactly what I'm saying. Not that we don't tolerate it. You fix yourself first and see which kind of friends do you have. The friends that they tell you honestly, or you're going to hate them because they disagreed with you and they were true. Or for example, even now that I'm talking about this, are you going to hate me for it? Or are you going to say, hey, good on you, man?
No, I'm just going to tell you that you're wrong.
Oh my goodness. Okay, we'll get back to that afterwards. But as a...
before we go, I wrote something down here.
Okay, go ahead.
You said something when you're talking about the clergymen there, right?
Mhm.
You said something about harems or something. Which culture is it that has harems?
No, I didn't say harems.
Did you?
No, I
Oh.
never said.
Okay. Anyway, regardless.
That's for maybe another show. Maybe.
Okay. We have to bring that up again. Which culture has the harems?
In Islamic thing, it's allowed, but I don't know of anywhere that is practiced.
I thought it wasn't supposed. I thought they were against that kind of thing.
Okay, we are changing the subject.
Sorry. That'll
But
be for
anyway,
another time.
Yeah, that's for maybe another topic, but another day. But again, so the moral of the story is this: at the end, our value system decides who goes on top, and how you can check your own. And this is the question that I have for you as the audience: see among friends and the ones that you like. Are they the ones that they agree with you even when you're wrong, or they are the ones that they tell you as is when they don't agree with you? So if they are the first one that they agree with you, that you like people that you just need somebody to approve your behavior, doesn't matter right or wrong, then probably you will vote for the politician who is telling the same thing, just lies to you. But if you're looking for somebody, if your friends are the ones that they are very honest and genuine with you, and if you make a mistake, they tell you right in your face and not to agree with you, then you would vote for a politician who is telling, they are honest about what they do.
But your friend can also agree with you sometimes.
Oh, for sure. I'm not saying I disagree. For example, myself, I don't disagree all the time with everybody, with all of my friends. That's not what I do. I don't do it for the sake of that. But I'm very honest about that.
Mm-hmm.
If I genuinely feel that I agree, I agree. If not, I would just say no.
And you have to be able to change your mind too.
Correct.
You're allowed, like if the news something, you're allowed to change your mind at times.
Oh, for sure. As long as you're
and that's
honest.
one thing people don't understand either, especially when it comes to politics and stuff, right? If someone changes their mind, they're like, people get upset by it, but it's like, you don't have the same value system when you're 50 as you do when you're 20.
No, that is very true. And you're supposed to change. Mm-hmm. Change is the basic element of improvement.
Yeah, like
so,
remember when trans fats used to be good for us?
Of course, now is a science part, but we are talking behavior.
Okay.
But yeah, the basic element for improvement is obviously change, and yes, we have to be open to that. But the moral of the story that I'm saying, that if we are honest with our feelings and if we welcome the friends that they are more honest with us, then we are the honest people who will vote for the honest politician. But if we are dishonest with our own feeling, so for example, if I don't like something, you don't like something about somebody else, but you say, oh no, that's great and that's awesome, and you call it to be polite. And I have said this about Canada. I say in Canada, people are more polite. They are too polite to be honest. And unfortunately, we consider it being polite and overcomes, the fact that we are becoming dishonest. So again, just see the group of friends that you have, how you elect them, how you like them. Do you like them to agree with you, or do you like them to be honest with you? Those are the politicians that you're going to be voting for.
Sorry, I know you wanted to keep this a little short, and this isn't what you want to talk about, but how do you deal with then, say, the politician that they say, I voted for a politician that I thought was good in my riding or whatever, right? And that politician doesn't get in, or their party doesn't get in, right? But then but the other party.
You do your
that's
best.
voted in the other side of the country, right? So it's almost like, because like Canada, if you ever look at it, it's divided almost in half.
As a general rule, and I
so-
understand what you're saying. As a general rule, this is the thing.
So
you just
what
do
sh-
your best. You cannot control the result.
So then, but you say one has a poor value system, but when a country is divided almost in half, like we are politically, which is the better value system, or do they both suck, or what? Who's
As I
to say which is better?
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
As I said, we are going again a bit maybe too far,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm trying to keep it. What I'm trying to say is this: you do the best that you can. You
Right.
cannot control the result, so don't worry about the outcome. Worry about the process. This is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
In this sense, you do the best that you can, because after all, you have just one vote. So that's all it is. What happens next? But if, as a general rule, the whole society starts to change the way that I'm talking about, I think we are going to have a better government too.
Oh,
And there will be
let's hope
obviously
so.
all the time some sort of a differences, but in general, this is the essence for improvement. First of all, choose the honest. Be honest to yourself. Be honest with your friends. Elect the honest politician. Promote honesty. And then with honesty, you show your flaws, but at the same time, you show your strengths. And then when you show your flaws, at least you know what your flaws are, and you can work on them. We will talk about that a little bit in some other episodes. Again, it went a bit further than I thought, thanks to the co-host, Mr. Bo. But no, that was awesome. No, that was good though. Again, as I said, I'm glad that you bring this stuff, and I know that, again, these are the questions that some of the audience have. So that is great. Thank you for doing that. But again, remember, life is simple. We make it complicated. Don't do that. Love you guys. Take care.
Bye.